Nichijou is one of my favorite anime of all time. The show comprises of skits and segments of different characters' lives. They are all made to feel like they live ordinary lives, as the title states. But when you watch the show, you realize that the lives they live are quite out of the ordinary. Even though the show can be really chaotic or peculiar, all of it feels normal in the context of the world. Nichijou reminds me a bit of my childhood, watching Saturday morning cartoons, given that the show is almost episodic in nature. This show is unironically the funniest piece of media I've ever watched. Its comedy consistently lands each episode. There's a good mix of comedy styles and variations with the timing of the delivery. These things keep the jokes fresh. The focus on different characters is great too, and all of them can stand on their own on keeping things entertaining and funny. Nichijou also likes taking breaks, showing off shorter segments to where we see stuff about the world the characters live in, or to have fun little side segments about something random. They do this to transition into a longer segment or to create a cliffhanger effect. These things are what makes Nichijou, Nichijou. All of that is really fun to watch on surface value, but underneath, there's a bit more than meets the eye. A while ago, I was watching a video from the Smash commentator, Toph. He talked about some of his favorite anime, and at one point, he talked about Nichijou. Here's what he had to say.
Nichijou, another show that I think is fucking, just all about kind of this show is actually really fucking zen, and it didn't click with me how zen this show is. It's actually very heavily inspired by Zen philosophies.
I was really curious about the whole Zen part, and so I looked it up for myself. My results were quite interesting. There are some pretty obvious objects that relate to Zen Buddhism that show up often throughout the show. One of them I want to mention is of course the Daruma doll. It's a doll modeled after Bodhidharma, the founder of the Zen sect of Buddhism. The reason why it's designed that way is because legends say that Bodhidharma was known for meditating for 9 years without moving. It got to the point where his arms and legs fell off due to atrophy. This is why the Daruma doll only consists of a head. The professor asks a good question here. The eyes of a Daruma have no pupils when they are sold. A person fills in one of the eyes when they've made a wish or have set a goal. After the wish has been fulfilled or the goal has been attained, they fill in the other eye. In Nichijou, the item is used both as a gag and a piece of symbolism. The Daruma doll was actually Nano's, and I'm thinking that her goal is to be more like a human being. She didn't want others to think of her as a robot and wanted to be treated as any normal person. I feel that this gag was a bit of foreshadowing for Nano's future. I'll come back to this topic later. But I feel that the Daruma doll is the most significant item in the series. The other objects like the Akabiko and the Maitreya Buddha statues were nice little references to the religion. Now, we are going to talk about the more philosophical aspects on Zen Buddhism, and how they directly relate to Nichijou's structure. First, we need to understand what a koan is. According to HuffPost, a koan is a riddle or puzzle that Zen Buddhists use during meditation to help them unravel the greater truths about the world and about themselves. Then, from TV tropes, they say when talking about Nichijou, some of the sketches are akin to Buddhist koans in that they present a deeper truth in an extremely compact, seemingly nonsensical form. Others are jokes about Buddhist concepts, and others are anime in-jokes. You mostly see it through the themes of some of the skits. An example is the parts with Nakanajo and how he doesn't believe in the supernatural. He goes against people who do believe in paranormal activity. It's shown in a chaotic manner, but it presents the conflict of fiction versus fact. Another one is with the second to last episode, in which Mio gets the wrong idea of Tachibana being with Sasahara, who Mio has a crush on. Mio is saddened and runs away from school. She does some things like shadowbox in the middle of the street, helping an old lady, and saving a boy from drowning, all in a highly exaggerated way. At the end, she starts getting praise from people and realizes in life, you don't know what's gonna happen next. This represents the ups and downs everyone goes through in life. The last one is with the segment A Little Miracle, in which something extremely unlikely is to occur. This can be something like breaking an egg with 2 yolks, or people in a row that are wearing colors that happen to correspond to the colors of the rainbow. These can be in relation to this quote from Sasahara.
日々私たちが過ごしている日常というのは実は奇跡の連続なのかもしれん。
I really like this quote because not only is it good, but it also is true. In Nichijou, some of the characters themselves can be an allegory to some Buddhist beliefs. From our school trio, Yuko is the walking version of dukkha, which is the first of the Four Noble Truths. It's a concept applied to both Buddhism and Hinduism. Dukkha refers to the suffering and unsatisfactoriness of mundane life. Throughout the series, Yuko constantly suffers time and time and time again. It's pretty much a reoccurring gag. There's no real rhyme or reason as to why she's suffering. It just happens. There's even a full-on skit that shows Yuko constantly getting hindered. In terms of being unsatisfied with her life, she is constantly told that she is an idiot and does poorly at school. She doesn't really know what she truly wants. Even though she goes through all of these things, Yuko keeps a positive attitude. Her name even means tender child. In a similar vein, we have Nano. She has 2 of the Noble Truths, being Nirodha, which refers to the cause of suffering, and Samudaya, which refers to the end of suffering. The reason Nano relates to these concepts is because of the key on her back. Nano is the only character that is physically unable to take off the key. She's a robot who doesn't want to be exposed of being one and wants to be treated like a human being. The key is holding her back because that's a dead giveaway of being a robot. That key is the cause of her suffering and she knows it. But by the end, she kept the key on her back and became friends with the school trio. Even though they knew she was a robot, Nano did not have to change who she was, making her suffering cease. The concepts of Nirodha and Samudaya come full circle by the end, which is where Nano's character Meditation is important in many religions, and one of them is Buddhism. We see a lot of it throughout Nichijou. The closest words for meditation in the classical languages of Buddhism are bhavana, which means mental development, and jhana or dana, which is the mental training resulting in a calm and luminous mind. Back in middle school, I remember learning about Siddhartha, better known as Gautama Buddha, the founder of Buddhism. The point where he reached enlightenment was when he sat underneath the Bodhi tree, also known as the Tree of Awakening, and started meditating. He was reflecting on his experience of life. Siddhartha wanted to know the truth of life. Eventually, he reached enlightenment and became a Buddha. Enlightenment in this context refers to full awakening. It's being in an ideal state of wisdom and intellect. Siddhartha learned that enlightenment can't be taught and can only be found within. Nichijou and Buddhism go hand in hand. They complement each other succinctly through philosophical and symbolic means. What they both remind us is that life is full of suffering. Even though we do suffer, it's sometimes funny to laugh at. Life is something to appreciate. Nobody truly knows what the meaning of life is, but everyone has their own interpretations on it and the way we live it. Life will always remain a mystery, and I think that's okay, because some things are better left unexplained.